Previously on Star Trek Bellathon.
That's when we see, that montage of all the scenes of the first introductions of the characters. We see the Wolf 359 footage. We see Velis in the ship as it's going down. We see Lario and our Captain Zenit watching it on screen. Then we get those glamour shots of the ship. We get the ship being turned over to Captain. We see, all the characters. We get that shot of the sort of fresh-faced Lieutenant Belmont being told that he's now the chief of security. Then we kind of cut to the arrival following the trail of the Tesla and the arrival at our planet here, Organ 3, and, sending the probes down, and then the away team going, and then with a shot of in the shuttle and everybody doing this, and suddenly we get that shot of the outside of the shuttle, and we see the lightning hit it, and then it will do the opening trailer. We see the opening screen stuff, and then we come in to the actual episode, and Belmont, the shuttle has been hit by this massive electrical system. So you're the person who's at ops right now, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I think Lario's there on the shuttle, right? So she's the pilot.
Yeah,
and so she's like, she goes, I've lost navigation. I'm switching over to manual systems. I'm going to need you to essentially switch off all of the ComPu adjustments, and you're going to have to go manual.
Okay.
And essentially, I just sort of simplify it that a lot of the stuff is coming down.
So we're at 3 successes here. So, Rich, tell me what that looks like as you compensate and come tearing down through the atmosphere. What do we see on screen? What do we see you doing? Which suddenly you've been doing automated controls, and suddenly you have to take the stick and go manual.
Yeah, I think just as a little thing for the fans, right? He grabs hold of the stick and then he goes, manual entry, and then bam, he's on the joystick and go through maybe part of a ring or something in the atmosphere, and it gets pitted by you have all this stuff, and the shields are barely holding. Shields at 84%, right? Which is like, whoa, medium level stress a little bit there.
And yeah, we see you tear through, and you are bringing it down. You still got that location, Lario. You're kind of aiming. You got that signal of where you spotted where the Tesla's signal was coming from. Velis, is this the first time in a while that you've been on a vessel that's taking this kind of abuse, or are you calm? I'm curious because you were at Wolf 359, you had all that go on. What do we see your reaction to this crisis?
I think it has been a while. Like Wolf, like we obviously don't like. That's a bad thing to think about. That all went badly, but he's been in Starfleet for a long time, so he's gotten used to sort of like high-tech space travel. But I think like in this, as he's gripping the seats, we get like a flashback to a very, very young Velis, like 6 or 7, in the seat of a much like shoddier looking shuttle, as he's like looking over at his parents and sort of panicking as they're reaching out and holding his hand as they're like landing for the first time on that colony planet that they were coming down to.
Nice. And Captain Zenit, when the camera comes over to you, what is what we see kind of tell us something about your command style?
I think you could see Zenit there. He's scanning kind of as Belmont's doing his thing, watching, looking out the windows, and he'll kind of pointing through. Looks like we can get through that way, sort of, very much relying on the person to do what they're good at. but adding in observation.
Excellent. And Belmont, there'll be that moment where you think you've got it good, and then you hit one of those pockets of air turbulence, and we'll see a sort of flare up of atmospherics. But then you'll kind of drop it, and we'll see you kind of like break the atmosphere. We get a kind of a long away shot. You know how in modern Trek they do this sort of almost looks like a hand cam from a distance as the ship kind of comes in out of the atmosphere. We kind of see that for a moment, and then we see you bank it.
And you also see that Stark, you see her like switching to go over to push some lever over on the side, and then cut back and you see the probes drop out of the shuttle.
Launch off different directions. We finally get a kind of a look at the atmosphere. It is a Class M planet, right? That's the right one. With greenery, things like that. But we also can see that there are aurora borealis all over the place. Clearly, there's something weird going on. As you detected before, there's some strange interference. You picked up that weird energy signature below the mantle of the planet, and you can tell something's going on. And we will see you kind of steady it, and you do one pass, and you can see, finally get that shot, the science vessel, the Tesla. It's not a big vessel. It's a modest-sized one, but you can see that it is crashed there. You can see there's a lot of damage, but right from here, given the lighting and stuff, it's hard to tell. So you will bring the shuttle down and land, and you're one set walk away from where the vessel is. Captain, let's come to you. Now the shuttle has landed.
All right, everyone, let's suit up. Let's go. We want to avoid any contact. Find survivors, see what we can do to get this ship back up, and if not, get everyone out of here.
So, Velis, you weren't, on the con for this. So when the shuttle door opens up, and what's the name of it? Is it the Pegasus? What is the name of the
Bellerophon?
The Bellerophon is the ship, and then we also named the shuttlecraft.
Oh crap! You're right.
It was like the Pegasus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll be a continuity error that the fans will write in about. There was a delay between filming the first half of the pilot and the second, and there were some problems with the CG. It's on the IMDb when we look it up. Velis, what do we see?
And this is because our mission here is there's a crew crashed, but this is an inhabited planet.
So this is an inhabited planet. This species are late 20th century, early 21st century level. You had to kind of avoid their satellites in orbit. They don't have warp technology. There's another planet in the system that has kind of feudal medieval age society, but different species. This ship, the Tesla observational science ship, went down, but you don't know why.
Lieutenant Commander Velis Savat, he comes out of the Pegasus. I imagine it probably painted like very white. Had that sort of feel to it. I guess he'd pull out a tricorder, probably. Yeah. Like he's got the medical training. We couldn't get anything in the scans from the surface, but there was all of their communication, and there's so many of their life signs to sort of read through. But maybe I can get something from down here on the ground.
Is there anything different about our new style tricorder for this series?
Yeah, I think it's got a little like Matrix-inspired flip phone sort of thing. So like it almost looks like a smartphone, but you press like a button on the side and the screen like turns sideways and shifts up. So it sort of turns into this T with like bright displays up all over it.
Absolutely. I like that.
It still makes the same sound though.
Oh, absolutely. Why don't you make a roll? Because you're kind of scanning for life signs, right?
Yeah. That's 3, none fall into the specialty range, though.
Okay.
So 3.
I'm going to give you some basic info. I think when you get onto the ground and you're at this ground level, you're still getting a little bit of that background radiation, but you're able to compensate for it pretty quickly. And the medical tricorder, as you move around, kind of approaching the vessel, you can see that there's atmospheric damage and some tears in the ship. It doesn't look like it was weapon damage from here, but you'll run the quick scans, and you won't get any life signs from inside the vessel, but you will kind of get bioresidue from a little ways away that says to you a ways away from the wreckage are at least 2, maybe 3 bodies, maybe more, off in a way that makes you think that's maybe they have been buried.
Oh. Okay, basic information question first.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Do we know the species makeup of the crew members that were supposed to be on this?
Absolutely. So I think we said that there were about 5 scientists and a skeleton crew, so maybe 9 people total on the vessel, mostly human. One of them Andorian. One of the scientists was Andorian. But I think you'll definitely have the breakdown of. There's also was a trill as well.
Interesting.
On that, so you can do that, and you can kind of quickly check that. Definitely detect that at least one of the bodies is Andorian.
Seems like this was a pretty rough crash. So I'm imagining. I mean, probably someone was injured besides the people that died. So is there any sort of trail of biomatter trail that I could pick up on?
I think that you will definitely see there's some kind of biomatter trail, but it stops a ways away fairly abruptly. So I think that you can kind of trace it back. You can walk over to where you will see Star Trek style rough graves. They clearly use phasers or whatever to dig the things, and they're kind of up. The piece of wood or the piece of metal to mark out
with some rocks.
Rocks on top. And you'll see tracks around, and you can definitely see that maybe in about 10, 15 meters away from that spot, there's some more, maybe some blood loss, that kind of thing you can pick up, and then that just stops.
Okay. Then my other question would be, is there any, unidentified foreign/native to this planet biosignatures that I can see coming through here in the time scale since the crash?
There is definitely residue for an alien species that you do not recognize in some volume present here on site that have clearly not only sort of at the spot where the other trail ends, but also kind of have clearly come and examined the crash as well.
Gotcha. Then yeah, he'll be he'll sort of be following the tricorder beeping around, and he'll call out to the captain Captain, I see there's a trail of some of the crew members that went off this way, but it disappears suddenly. There's I can't get up any further readings. Oh, there's something over here. They seem to have buried several casualties, at least one Andorian, and I am picking up that I think the local natives have been around here since the crash happened. I don't know if they were involved in where our crew members went, but just not sure.
I think it becomes very possible that this is now going to be a rescue mission from hostile forces. Lieutenant Lario, are you able to pick up anything from the wreckage that tells us what happened?
Yes. So I said, yes, Captain. I'll go and take a look.
So what do we see you doing?
I think the first thing that you see her do is she takes something out of her pack. It's the first new tech for this season. She puts essentially what looks like glasses, but they're very straight and very slim. It's more like a band around her eyes.
Is this a Visor 2.0?
This is a Visor 2.0. And essentially then you see these little readouts pop up around, and essentially all the ray tracing and drawing of the engineering systems with rapid movement through the maps, because they're going to sell those later on. So they're doing the little schemata of the vessel, and that's going through there. And then you can see it it does the layout of the ship, and then it does a confirmation. And then when there isn't one, it draws it in red and then flips to the next level, next level, next level.
Let's have you roll. All right. So that'll be 3 successes.
Okay.
I'll give you some basic information and I'll let you ask some follow-up things. To confirm what I said earlier, it doesn't look like battle damage on the outside. It looks like there must have been some kind of release of energy similar to what hit the shuttle as the Tesla was in orbit, which suggests a really strong power source and very unusual here. Like whatever is happening currently in the atmosphere is out of the norm.
Okay.
It looks like the emergency power is still running on the ship, but thank goodness it looks like the warp core was shut down.
Okay.
They managed to do that. That's the basic info. I'm going to give you a couple of follow-up questions.
I heard Velis say that the natives may have been over the wreckage. Is there anything of note missing?
You kind of, we see you step into another set of the interior of the Tesla, and we see you scanning and move through that. It looks to you like compartments for personal effects. Those have been opened and things have been packed away. It also looks like the computer data cores have been removed, which includes the logs. The thing that you will realize, though, is because of the way that those have to be taken out kind of in sequence, the natives clearly couldn't have done that. It had to have been survivors would have done that.
All right. All right. So I don't see anything that looks like that they've picked up something that we consider significant tech then, right?
If it is, it would be something, it might be something minor equipment, things like that. But right now it doesn't look like the ship has been scavenged.
Okay.
Or anything like that. At least at this point, they haven't done that.
All right. I'm going to go, and I know that there's a small living quarters here thing, and I'm going to get whatever the designated ship pet is and make sure that I retrieve that.
Okay.
Because then the next thing that I'm probably going to see is them putting a seal over the ship so that it can't be broken into, and so that if they have to destroy it, it all goes.
Okay.
All right.
Lieutenant Belmont, let's come to you, and then we'll come to the captain. You're the security officer. What do you want to do here?
Warp core down. Everybody's left. Looks like Lario is securing the space. I want to follow after the trail where these people left, as long as nobody is in danger here. Boom.
So you have 3 momentum to ask follow-up questions or to hang on to, Belmont. You will move and look, and you will see there's definitely very basic ground effect vehicle markings and trails here. It looks to you like what happened was the scientists must have gathered the things up, come out of the ship, started to look around, prepare, and at some point, a ship with aliens, a very basic grav sled, came up. You can see where it kind of stopped, and it looks like they must have loaded the scientists up onto that vessel and headed off. You have some follow-ups if you want.
So I'd like to see if I can understand the technology of the grav sled that they use.
Okay. Yeah, I think one point will tell you very basic gravatics has a pretty obvious signature. These things aren't particularly well contained. It's early 21st century tech, so very, very primitive. But yeah, you can definitely get a signature on that. And you'll know if you have to face one of these things, how to disable one of these sleds. A simple stun pulse will actually throw the matrix off on one of these.
Lieutenant, we'll need to set our phasers to stun. We should be able to take out the grav sleds they use to steal our crewmates. Which way did it go?
It essentially heads off to what you would be planetary east, which is actually towards one of those largish settlements that you picked up, like a city, when you were doing the scans from orbit.
And is it 21st century? So is this primitive tech? Should we be worried about the Prime Directive? If so, I'm totally bringing it up so we can violate the shit out of it.
Yeah, the captain has already expressed that this might be a first contact situation.
This technology looks very archaic. Again, I remind you of the Prime Directive.
Of course, duly noted, Lieutenant.
Captain Zinnett, what are you doing? And if you're just kind of supervising, then I'll throw something at you.
I've been sort of supervising and making sure we've got the place secured. We put up shields so they can't screw with our shuttle as well. And once Idris has kind of located the spot that they're heading off in, I've probably moved over towards them to inspect that and get ready for us to move.
As you kind of move them, you're kind of, surveying the horizon, and you will see inbound what looks like 3 vehicles heading this way. You can see that they are close to the ground. You can see mostly what you're picking up is that kind of dust spin up. We might actually get kind of a Star Wars-y reference with the dust being kicked up as these speeders come in. Yeah, it looks like a set of 3. They're inbound pretty fast, clearly heading this direction.
They've already seen Tesla and have our crewman. I think we should stand here and speak with them.
Should I set the shuttle up and cloak it?
I don't know. Do we have a cloak for the shuttle?
I assume you have.
I recall like episodes where they would make it disappear.
Yeah, they have. It's not like a starship cloaking thing, but it's probably
like a camo field.
Yeah,
like a camo tarp or something.
Yeah, let's do that for sure.
So yeah, you go. So Lario, you go and get that set up. Velis, Captain is kind of standing there, bracing, waiting for the arrival of these people. What do you do?
I'm gonna stand right behind him, not like right behind him, but like at one of his shoulders, and I'm gonna start tapping away on the tricorder and pull up the universal translator and set it to start recording for a new language and make sure to now remember, Captain, it may take a few exchanges back and forth before we get a basic language matrix set up for them.
Of course.
They've done some surveys here of the planet, so they've got probably at least some basic syntax, so it won't be more than an exchange or two, you kind of realize as you pull that up.
Nice. Yeah, I'll get all that data loaded up and ready to go.
And Belmont, Captain is getting ready to parley with these creatures. What do you do?
I think I'm going to be taking a position where if they are threatening the crew, I'll have the optimal range to be able to defend them.
And you will see the 3 ships that are inbound certainly slow as they approach. There's clearly the lead one sees you there and slows way down. You see the other 2 they sort of turn so that they kind of slow down in place so that they're kind of abreast. And you can see there are these Lormians. They're maybe 4 foot, 4.5 feet tall. They've got what seems to be some kind of synth cloth armor or uniform on. It's sort of a silver lame with some things stuck on it because, these are very basic. It's first episode. We don't have a lot to spend on them. But the CG on them is pretty good because they do look like they're going to be great action figures because they're these sort of lemurs that are standing up on their back legs. And they have what looks to you like very basic sort of plasma throwers. They're not much more effective than, say, a slug thrower, but they're energy weapons, so they keep a charge there. And the lead vessel kind of comes and stops a ways away, and you'll see a group of them dismount, and one will come forward. Zenit, what is it about this one, their appearance or their dress or something that tells you that this is who's in charge?
My go-to is a fancy hat, but we'll stay away from that. I think that as he steps down, that 2 others had kind of closed up behind him, looking very protective, and he had kind of motioned them back. Kind of, so we see it's, no, I've got this sort of thing as he comes forward.
And
I don't know if I could tell.
Yeah, steps forward. They kind of actually puts its paws out, kind of extends them. The others are kind of still standing there nervously, like they've got their guns pointed down, but they're kind of looking around, like, where did these people come from? Blah, blah, blah. And this one will come forward and stops sort of within chittering distance. It does that thing where we hear it, Captain Thema of Lorm. And you are?
I am Captain Zidit of the starship Bellephon. We come in peace.
You are with the crew of this ship that landed?
We are associates with them.
It looks around to kind of gauge how many of you there are and says, the survivors from your crash, we have taken back to Lorm. They are safe, and we are speaking with them currently. If you wish, we will take you to join and speak with them.
We would like that, and to, of course, retrieve them and take them home.
That will certainly be discussed. Yes, absolutely. We would like you to come with us. It would be a gesture of good faith. We will sheathe our weapons, but we would ask that you turn over any armaments to us.
Would it be all right if we left our armaments here?
That would be fine.
I will go over and put mine into the Tesla.
Okay.
Beep, beep the shield out a moment.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you definitely get the sense that his concern is less, I want to get a hold of these things, and more, he doesn't want to take armed aliens into his capital.
That seems reasonable. I will kind of motion towards Lario and Suvat, but I think I'm wary enough that I'm not going to make any indication or even look in the direction of Belmont.
And while the captain's talking to them and we're sort of like slowly moseying over to put our weapons away, can I get any sort of emotional read off of these guys? Like, are they, I suppose starting with, can I understand their alien emotions, but then can I get a sense of their trustworthiness?
Two successes?
Even after it changed.
Okay. The ones who are like the guards that are standing around, they're wary and kind of nervous, but they're also scared, but you don't think they're scared of you. Like, they're scared about something else. They're so, like, you pick up all kinds of, you sense their anxiety. But the other emotion that you get is off of this captain. He is excited. Like, your presence is a wondrous and exciting thing, and it feels a little odd to you.
Yeah, so I will like move in close to the captain as we're putting our weapons away in the Tesla and say, the security he has with him seem on edge, paranoid, scared, but they're security, so that's going to happen. He seems excited. He might be open to a first contact situation here.
Very good. Hopefully we can mend this in a friendly manner.
Belmont, how are you concealing your weapon? You have a sense that they know what kind of weapons generally look like. Maybe they've seen them or been explained in the earlier thing. You're not sure. How do you want to conceal your phaser?
I think this spins the regs, but I think that I have a phaser, and then I have like a backup phaser in my boot, like a little holdout phaser.
A little holdout phaser. Okay,
yeah, totally.
So let's have you roll.
If I can, I'd like to help. Belmont, do you think I know you tend to carry
Of course. It's in my logs. Do you read my logs?
I always read your logs. I'm quite meticulous on that. So
I think
I look over at you, kind of for the first time, because I wasn't entirely sure you were even in view.
I didn't know either, but I am.
Okay. Then I will point at your phaser you probably have in your hand. That gets left behind, please, Lieutenant, and bring real attention to it, and if I may, to aid their using command.
So
nice.
You're going to have a couple extra momentum that you can hang on to. So yeah, you definitely have it concealed away. They don't notice. They will load you up onto this vessel, onto the grav sled, speeder, and get you set. Lario, anything I should know about what you're doing?
Yeah, I think I've got my probes out there. I should be getting some first data back. And essentially what it is I'm trying to get any sense of indicators of when the next pulse is going to go out.
Let's have you make a roll. Two successes. We see you look at the readings, you're looking at the energy numbers, and I think you will come to a terrifying realization.
What's that?
This whole planet, this electrical pulse, everything, it is going to destroy the atmosphere soon. This whole planet is going to go up.
And I think you see that. You see her essentially distribute the message, like essentially the results, like so that it goes out to everyone else's instruments. And she turns to the captain of the lemurs, and she says, "Do you control the pulses?"
No, we do not.
Do you know what causes the pulses?
We do not.
It would be good if we could stop.
But the others have said that they will help us. They have promised, and now that you are here, you will be able to save us and evacuate us, right? Dun, dun, dun. Commercial break. When we come back from the commercial break, we get that shot of the Lormian city. Someone has spent a lot of time doing the painting of it. So we see it from a distance, and we see some stuff moving in the foreground, along that kind of animated that. And we can see maybe a ship taking off. But then we cut inside. And so, Patrick, tell me, what is a design element of the Lormian architecture that the set designers have really leaned into to like make this look like a Lemurian kind of city? What do you think?
So I think like all the walls and vertical surfaces just have like very regularly spaced, not like spikes, but like poles sticking out of them like 2 or 3 feet. And it's really sort of confusing in this like there are pencils stuck into all of these buildings way until we see some of the Lemurians like hand and footing it up the side of a building and in through a like upper balcony entrance sort of thing.
We get a couple shots of that so that they've established that, and then they stop doing it. We never see it again in the background.
Yeah, not even once.
Yeah. But we'll see you come in and brought in. There are a bunch of Lemurians. They're looking at these consoles. They're looking at this, and you'll see there are some humans there. And when you come in, you'll see one of this older scientist human who you can immediately identify as Dr. Emmett from the crew roster. You guys checked that out, I remember last time, to see. And Dr. Emmett sees you and comes over immediately, and he's like, looks at you, Captain?
Captain Zenit.
So this is great. I'm so glad that you've arrived. So you picked up our distress call. Good. The situation is very problematic. But you have a ship in orbit. Do you have more than one ship, or just one ship?
The Belaphon has been sent to your assistance.
And you see him kind of go, and he kind of like doesn't know, like, because you're a relatively new ship, and he says, well, we had an incident. The strange electromagnetic fluctuations in the atmosphere, but also affecting the planetary mantle. We've been scanning those when we were struck by a discharge, and the ship went down. Our captain was Captain Forrest was killed in the crash, as well as several others. But soon after we arrived, we started pulling things together, and we encountered these Lemurians, and we spoke with them with a universal translator, and we found out about their situation, and we've been working to aid them ever since.
Well, this is my science officer, Lieutenant Lorio.
Good. It's the scientist, good.
Commander Suvat, Lieutenant Belmont. My science officer says that time is of the essence.
Yes. The planet is suffering from severe geological distress, and there are electromagnetic disturbances that are wreaking havoc on the whole planetary communication system. They've had earthquakes throughout, and we've been timing them. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next little bit of this scene we actually see an earthquake hit.
Doctor, did you imply that the Federation was going to be able to evacuate the millions of inhabitants of this planet?
I may have overspoken. We've been working with the Lormarians. We had no idea that your ship was going to be arriving. We were doing what we could. The Lormarians have some very basic pre-warp vessels. We've been working with them to figure out how we can best do that. But unfortunately, right now, with the technology that they have, we might be able to evacuate several hundred, maybe even upwards of a couple thousand from here. That's not enough to preserve the genetic diversity of this species. It will die out, but we were going to help them with the transport to Organ 2.
You see Lario's looking around for the other scientists, looking for the ones who would be more geologic oriented.
Okay.
Rather than his, because he's talking populations and all that stuff. So she's guessing that's his specialty.
Yeah, he's definitely the life science officer.
Yes.
And so he's talking that with you, Captain Zinnett. Okay, Laura. So let's say you'll see another one of these scientists who's clearly, you see that they and a couple of Lomarians have a hollow model of the planet, and you can see them tracing the faults and hear the pings for the different earthquakes and things like that, and you can approach them.
And she comes up and she goes, "Have you determined what the source is?"
We've been unable to, unfortunately. The scanners on the Tesla went down along with everything else, so we've been unable. We had done basic scans, tried to compensate for the atmospherics, but we got very little data before we were struck.
She'll hand him her scanner with the stuff from the probe. She goes,
"Oh, this is great data. This is excellent. Thank you.
It's very good data. I don't know that it's particularly optimistic data unless we can determine what is causing those pulses and find some way to stop them."
And he'll turn and he kind of feeds us into the machine, and you and the Lomarians will start kind of looking over that. And again, you'll get that sight, that pulse point that you picked up from orbit that you kind of focused on. It's 40, 50 kilometers away from here and then below ground, quite a distance. But we'll come back to that in just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Velis, what are you doing?
So what's the scientist guy's name again?
Emmett, Dr. Emmett.
In between stuff here, come up to him and say, Dr. Emmett, it looked like a rough landing. I know you had some casualties, but how's the rest of your crew? Is there anything I can do to help?
Actually, one of our crew, the Lomarians, have been trying to treat them, but our medical officer died on the crash, and we've done very basic first aid, but I'm afraid they don't look like they're in good shape.
I have a fully stocked emergency kit. I am the medical officer for the Bellerophon, so please, where are they? I can help.
And he'll gesture, and you will see one of the Lomarians come over in that they've clearly gotten some version of a white doctor's jacket kind of thing to signal that this is the medical person for the Lomarians. And they come over and they'll say, "Oh, excellent! You are a physiker."
Yes. I have files and specialty in this command man's race.
Come with me then. I will take you to the injured one. I have done basic scans, and I've been running tests to try and determine what we can do medicinally. We know so little, and I don't want to use anything that might cause an allergenic reaction or anything like that. So please come with me. And he'll take you through there. He clambers up one of those things and kind of gets to the top and looks down at you. Come.
Just like this?
Yes.
Are you sure they'll hold? I'm much larger than you,
They're fine. They're reinforced.
Try and climb up the side of one of these.
Climb up, and you'll get into a bay where we can see all the machines that go bing all around here in the various bays.
The most expensive one in the med lab.
Exactly. And you will see they've had to extend the bed because the human kind of doesn't quite fit on the scan bed. But you'll see there's this woman, and you can see that she's got some burns. Like, you guess she was the engineer and must have helped with getting the warp core shut down. They have bandages and things on, but very basic because they don't want to put any medicines on them or anything. So she looks like she's in bad shape. Let's have you make a roll.
I go up. I have my tricorder out. It does the like T turn, and then like I hold the horizontal piece, and the vertical sort of smartphone piece like disconnects. And I run it over the officer's body with that blue light shining out to do future tech Reiki.
Okay. And we definitely see Lemurian's head kind of pop into frame to watch this whole thing. Her eyes get wider as they watch it, like
flips down from the vertical.
Can I assist?
Sure, if you want to leave the Geo Center and come up there.
Instead, I was thinking of contacting him via the tricorder or the communicator and saying, is it the engineer that was hurt?
I'm in the middle of working here. I can't be interrupted.
And she just
stops balance.
Okay, and I think she'll stop and go there. If she brought the warp core down, you're going to want to use this set of protocols.
Are you thinking this is a dilithium irradiation situation?
Almost certainly, from what I saw in there.
You'll be able to approach it, and you do the thing where we have the little thing that goes over and sort of knits the wound. And the Lemurian's mouth drops open when they see that. So 3 successes will mean that you'll be able to move them soon, and then you'll get 1 success left over.
Okay, cool. Then I think I'm gonna spend that momentum. I don't know if this is exactly how this power works, but I sort of want to do it. But my collaboration talent. Choose a single discipline medicine. When an ally attempts a task using that discipline, you can spend 1 momentum to allow them to use your score for that discipline and one of your focuses. So can I get that Lemurian doctor in and we work together because he understands his machinery and I understand the biology?
Absolutely. And he'll stop and say, so you're using like a cellular restoration field with the Quonset radiation?
Yes, but you're going to have to translate the micropulses through a different matrix to get the right outcome.
That's radical procedures. That's light years ahead of where we are.
Just follow along. You obviously know what's going on. Just here, hold this. Make sure that thing doesn't bleed out too much, and we'll get her back together.
Absolutely, and you can see that the Lemurian is clearly thinking about the implications of how they could adapt this to the Lemurian medicine and advance it significantly.
No.
I mean, well, I mean, on the other hand, I do have the little scanner that they're holding, doing a deep tissue scan on Lemurian doctor.
Yes.
So,
Belmont, while this is going on, there are some guards around. You're hearing this thing going on. What are you up to?
I think that I am planning our escape.
Absolutely.
Figuring out who I need to stun, where the weak points are to extract the shuttle members as well as our own crew.
Absolutely. You kind of move around, you get a sense that you can tell that they are not holding you here at all. They're not blocking access ways. They're clearly more concerned with their own safety and with helping out. So you'll be able to spot that. But I think at the end, as you're kind of walking around, we'll get that moment where we get the camera starts to shake. We see that going on, and you will see that one of these fixtures on the wall, we see it sort of break off and start to fall, and we can see that it's going to fall and hit a group of these Lemurians that are carrying another one to safety. What do you do?
Okay, options. I don't think a phaser can be used against a rock that's falling, so it's leap into action time and try to sweep aside these little Lemurian dudes.
Sure, maybe you could use a phaser to try and cut the thing so it falls a different way. I mean, I'm good either way you want to do this.
Oh yeah, but
what looks sweeter?
Show them the phaser though.
Yeah, I would reach back for the phaser and then think about it.
Yeah, and then he runs forward to tackle them and knock them out of the way. I got a success.
One success. So I think that you will push them out of the way, but you are going to be hit
That
by
sounds
this
amazing.
thing as it falls. You push them aside, and I think you're going to take 4 stress as one of these things hits you back and knocks you to the ground. But you see everyone look around and see that you've saved these Lemurians there, but you're kind of pinned. They're trying to help you get up from that. So yeah, you take that hit, and they're helping you up. What do we see on screen?
They did the best they could with sound effects, but the rock is obviously not like a straight up rock. So there's some like rip in the costume and maybe a little dash of bruised blood kind of stuff, and the Lemurians help him up. And Belmont's playing it, he's selling it, but it's a little on the cheesy side. It's one of those where they look back and go, if only,
pilot
we'd had a
episode.
little bit more. Pilot episode. Much
some
rock dust. Yeah.
You'll get up, and they're kind of around you, kind of helping you up, and they're talking so fast. The translator is having trouble keeping up with it. Thank you, you saved us. Thank you. Captain, you see that and happen, and as the earthquake sort of stops, you see Belmont risked his life to save this person. You're not yet aware of Velis's violation of the Prime Directive, but you're talking with Dr. Emmett. He says, with your shuttles and with their ships, maybe you could help with some of the launch things. We can get more of their people up into orbit. Maybe we can certainly significantly increase the number of people that we can get to safety.
You have to realize the enormous breach of the Prime Directive if we take these people to another planet, a pre-technological planet.
Captain, I'm not a member of Starfleet. I don't care about the Prime Directive. I want to help these people. If we don't, this entire species will be wiped out. Even if some of them get through, they'll die out in a generation or two.
I understand, Doctor, and no, you are not a member of Starfleet, nor are you in possession of a ship at this time.
Point taken, Captain. But surely
we are going to try to do everything we can to help them. But you must realize there are more considerations. Please do not go around and make promises to these people willy-nilly that we cannot complete.
Captain, I had to give them some kind of hope. They've been facing this for months with uncertainty and knowing that their planet is going to be destroyed. Some of them have fired their children off in rockets off, to who knows where, to try to get them to some kind of safety.
Oh God.
Of course, Doctor, and we are going to do everything we possibly can. First things first, though, we need to establish communications with our ship. We were not able to do so from orbit previously.
Captain, do you want to try to get the comms working?
Yes.
You do that adjustment. You use the field and the gear that they have here, and you will raise the ship. Commander Doe.
Number 1, we are on the planet. The Tesla has lost some crew, but we have found the rest. We are in the Lemurian city. They rescued the crew.
All right.
We've also discovered that there is a tremendous seismic problem on this planet.
We've been picking up earthquakes in and around your position.
We're going to attempt to find if there's something we can do to mitigate it. The doctor in charge at this point of the expedition of the Tesla has made certain promises to these Lemurians that we will try to rescue them.
Understood.
Please do whatever you can to send down any information you can as your scans up there. I will have Lieutenant Lario send up whatever findings we can. And number 1, we may have to bring some of these people on board.
I will set Engineer Forsec to the deflector array to run the sensors through that to see if we can get more data. I will have the shuttles prepared, and I will have decks 8 through 13 made ready for potential refugees.
Thank you, number one. And Loria, have you told me about the pig off in the distance under the ground? Or is that something you've kept to yourself?
Yes, and I sent it around to all of them with the countdown to the planetary destruction.
Then I will also send up. And number one, this may be our best lead. Something's going on deep beneath the crust at blah 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 sector blah blah blah. And if we can isolate this problem, maybe we can reverse what's going on.
Understood, sir. Clearly, you get that sort of the text through on your thing that says, "Can you speak freely?" kind of thing. The code that says that.
I will kind of move away somewhere private, and the whisper down.
Should I contact Starfleet?
Yes, advise Starfleet that we have encountered. We've had a first contact with a space-capable race in a distress situation. We are currently attempting what we can do to assist.
There are 2 other Starfleet vessels within a 2-week travel time to here that could potentially get through the Shackleton Expanse. Should I contact them?
What 2 ships?
One is a research vessel, and the other one is like a Federation transport ship.
So I probably wouldn't recognize him to know who's captain there.
You tell me. This is your show.
Everyone's new. Everyone's
that's
new.
true.
Do you want me to patch you through? You want me to patch you through to the captain of the Janus?
The research vessel.
Cut through, and let's say an Andorian, because we've identified Andorians here, but we haven't actually shown them. You will see this is the Janus. This is Captain Ajax. Well, if it isn't the captain of the Bellerophon.
Ajax, it's good to hear from you again.
Absolutely. I understand that you're also researching the Shackleton Expanse, or at least traveling through.
We came looking for a lost fledgling and found them crashed on a planet, the Tesla.
Yes, a tiny little thing.
Well, it won't be leaving the planet anytime soon. Several crew lost as well.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
We have a situation here. A planet-wide, potentially catastrophic situation here.
And what is it that you want me to do, Captain?
You have one of the most advanced research ships, certainly in this sector, if not in this side of the galaxy. We need scientists. We need the best people to see if we can solve this, and not Ajax. This whole race is going to go.
This is a pre-warp civilization, Captain.
They're space capable. I'm
pre-warp civilization, correct?
It is, Ajax.
Let's have you make a roll.
I got 1 success.
Captain, it will take me... I have to finish up right in the middle of some long-run scans I have to finish, or we'll lose 2 weeks worth of work here. But as soon as that is done, I can task the ship to head to your location. But it will... We're not prepared for high warp travel through the Shackleton, so it will take us at least a week to get to your position.
I understand, and I'm hoping they have a week, Ajax. There's millions of these people here.
I see that the Philippus is also in the sector. Do you want me to see if we can get them diverted to this location?
Yeah, Anything that we can get. And I've sent word to Starfleet.
All right. I'll do this, Senate, but you are going to owe me one.
Thank you, Ajax.
Says Ajax out. Lario, you've been looking at this geological thing. They look at the model that you've got with this energy source and they go, we don't know what that is. That's not one of our facilities, and it's so deep underground. I don't think I'm not sure we can even build something down that deep. There is the Salachian chasm that's there, but cavers have never gone that far down.
Let's just stop and check out. Have your satellites ever detected any other vessels similar to ours, the Tesla? Perhaps?
We did not. We knew that there were other life forms in our system. Basic survey probes that we had sent out had identified them. But beyond that, we weren't certain that life existed outside of our solar system. Your presence here changes everything we thought about the universe.
You would have thought about it sooner or later. She sort of pats his forehead, his shoulder, and she goes, so if it isn't a recent plant, then something is down there. So you say there's a chasm. What is it, underwater? Is it?
No, it's a gorge that reaches down deep into the earth, but we've never been able to send anything down there. There is a weird electromagnetic fields. Probes that we have dropped down have been affected by them. So not something we've ever explored fully.
All right. And you'll see her do some programming. And essentially what she's doing is you can see all the probes that are out there. You kind of see the thing of like probes turning, reorienting, and moving. And she goes, I've moved our probes over there, and we'll see if I can get enough readings to understand how we need to set our ship to get to that place.
And I think that you can send the probes over, and you'll definitely see it's an absurdly large gorge.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly big enough for a shuttle to get down into.
Excellent.
And certainly when the probes go close, they'll actually pull back because you'll kind of start to lose communication with them there. Like the signal is cut off.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that the ones that go later stay higher up. And what they're doing is trying to get the nature of it so that we can pass through it.
Sure.
And is anything about this electromagnetic thing familiar to me? And I ask because I have things like subspace dimensions and warp technology and all kinds of other different energy signatures that I'm familiar with.
I think actually, as you're kind of looking at that, Belmont, you kind of come over, you're still nursing your injury.
Of course.
And you'll look at some of the readings that she's pulled up, and they strike you as familiar. And because you've had an encounter with ancient technology in the past.
Oh, that's true.
So if you would like to aid, you can try and assist Lario on this and bring your insight to bear. Tell me something, Rich, that when you're looking at this, that you provide, like, again, we've got a chasm. There's some kind of energy thing down there, the signal that is causing this thing. What's one detail that might help in terms of being able to understand it or get to it?
You're going to have to realign your transpolar relay to compensate for the echoing and the dampening that happens through a chasm of that size.
Brilliant.
You see her look at you. She goes, all right, so you're assuming that the rock has, blah, 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 properties. And she'll re-engineer, which is really just smearing her finger on the screen a little bit. And then it starts to converge.
And you will definitely be able to get a sense that there is a clear path down into this cavern, that it will be a dangerous and difficult flight, but you could potentially fly the shuttle down in there to reach whatever the source of this thing is.
All right.
Does that
And then-
sound good?
Yeah, and she turns back to Lieutenant Belmont, and she says, "So you've seen that before?"
Have. I'm
What
not sure
was it?
why these two are related. There was this alien artifact that I found. We can talk about it later,
Okay, but the sooner the better. But later.
of course.
She turns. I have to call the shuttle.